Hello, good people of Earth. I wanted to expound more on energetic cords, soul loss, energetic intrusions, and soul contracts, which I discussed last time. So I wanted to give more detail so that you could see if there are these factors playing in your life. And I could say that almost every single person has these unless they've done a lot of deeper inner work. So the first one is energetic cords. We've all heard of these. You definitely develop them to your parents. You develop them with your previous partners if the relationship was long and significant. And there are types of energy cords. There are luminous and life giving cords that feed positive energy in your life. And there are also these dark, draining cords. And those are the ones that I work with to remove in order for people to move on with a relationship. Even if the person is deceased or is no longer in your life, you can still have these energy cords playing out, and they carry this painful energy, and you'll know that you'll dwell on the relationship, you'll dwell on the past, you'll reflect a lot on that person, on the dynamic, and think about how it made you feel and how negative that was for you. There's a deep conscious knowing that the relationship needs to be released, yet you keep it around like almost like a second skin that feels comfortable for you to be in despite the pain that it brings. Most cords are to family members or significant others, yet you can have cords that are also attached to places and specific undesirable emotions or fears. Basically, they can be in regards to belief systems. Since the vibration that we offer in those relationships are that of deceit, we frequently experience undesirable results when we're in that vibration. They can turn into negative actions, and then that creates more negative energy that is draining. So if you're still in contact with a person, you will carry the past memories of negative interaction, you will carry the resentment, and you will maybe speak in spiteful ways or immediately anticipate the worst from that person, and you'll almost undercut any attempt to repair the relationship as you're acting through that negative energy pathway. So, if we can release the negative, dark, shadowy cords and maintain the life giving, bright, uplifting cords, you can transform the relationship. You can reopen your hearts to each other again. You can move on. Or if the person is deceased, you can release them, release your entanglement, and free up a lot of your personal energy to put towards the life giving cords with other people. In terms of soul loss, you may experience chronic fatigue, low energy, never having the ability to complete your personal life goals. You can also experience weight gain, chronic depression, other health conditions that don't go away with conventional treatment. You can experience spaciness, disassociation, inability to stay focused, confusion, lack of direction, inability to prioritize the goals before you. And you feel like you're in somewhat this fishbowl container that you've created for yourself when you have soul loss. You can't release lingering thoughts. You may have dreams about the past or dreams of the situation that cause the sense of shame and regret and cause the soul loss. You can also have abusive and addictive patterns that prevent you from gaining control or traction in your life, because an important piece of yourself, of your virtues, has gone dormant, and so you're unable to fulfill your commitments. You can make promises and constantly fall short of coming through on those promises. That's a really big one. In terms of intrusions, these can also come in when you have soul loss for a long time. Intrusions are actually a darker type of energy that, to me, presents itself as a lower dimensional being, and a lot of them have these squinty little eyes, or they have like this jagged teeth, they have a jagged outline. So if you ask for the entity to reveal itself to you, it will be usually black, gray, burgundy, or red, the lower light spectrums. And it will have just this like nasty, toothy little appearance to it, almost like a cartoon face. And many people witness shadow beings running across their walls or hiding up in the corner. I have a lot of clients who are ex hospice care nurses, and when a lot of people have passed, these beings have lingered, or maybe they are there to feed on the negative emotions of the people dwelling in sickness, dwelling in despair, facing their life end. But I've heard so many hospice care nurses talking about seeing them scurrying over the walls or seeing them hovering in the corner, and then sharing that experience with other people they work with, because people think that, oh my God, I'm losing it, I'm seeing this thing, and then they realize other coworkers are also seeing that same exact thing in their vicinity. So maybe you have seen them, maybe now that you are aware of it, you may be able to pick up on that. But these things only come in when you are in a negative state of mind, and there's also a space for them to fill a void that's left by a soul loss. You can have, once they come in, they nestle in your body, they usually attach to the weakest area. So if you've had a repeated injury, if you have an overuse injury in your body, they can lodge in that place, and then it's very easy for them to drain and create negative emotions within you, create this sense of like hopelessness. You may feel this burning, itching, gnawing pain that doesn't go away no matter how many massages, acupuncture, maybe even surgeries that you have, depending on how long it's been there and how far you've gone to try to treat it. So these are very important to remove, because with this influence playing out, you will have voices that are not your own. You may hear a voice that is cursing at you, telling you you're a horrible person, you can't do anything right. Very self-defeating streams of consciousness will pour into your mind, and you will mistake them for your own thoughts, and maybe you start to believe them, and then that negativity starts playing out in your life because of your beliefs, that it's just propagating, it's growing this garden of nasty self-obsession and also self-fulfilling prophecies that are happening. The next concept is soul contracts. So these happen when we were put in a compromised situation. For example, a big one is if you were sexually violated by somebody and you were unable to stand up for yourself. If you are a meek or timid person and you had somebody violate your free will, but you were too soft-spoken, too scared to defend yourself, you may have created a soul contract that permanently puts you as the victim, puts you as an unworthy person. You may have internally consented to shutting down anytime someone violates your space or violates your free will and going along with it. So it's almost like you agreed to participate in that first instance. You agreed to participate and become defenseless. And so then that cycle continues. Okay. And this is something that I experienced throughout my life, that sexually being violated and physically being violated in my childhood created a pattern where every time this situation came up, I would just shut down and become this childlike state and just absorb and endure it. And then it kept happening and it kept happening and it kept happening until I was able to identify that within myself there was this mechanism of shutting down. And maybe it was a coping mechanism that happened when I was a child because I was small and really unable to defend myself. But when I became a full-grown adult, I still maintained that negative or that small self-concept, and that was always tripping me up for decades after the first incident. So these are some of the unconscious decisions and assumptions we make that carry on throughout life. And you can have clues slipping out from your mouth that generalize a fatalistic type of expression or belief. It depends on your individual situation. For some people it's I'm a drug addict, I'm no good and I'll always be no good. Or for some people, if your trust was broken or violated, you may say I can't trust people are awful, you can't trust anybody, everybody's out to get me. Or if you've had an experience that really defeated your self-esteem, you may have repeating thoughts that are telling you you'll never be good enough, nobody's ever going to like me, there's probably no good reason for anyone to like me. You'll have this broken record type of self-sabotage. You will also feel the desire to change, but it always leads to disappointment. And you may experience failure in this repeating situation over and over again, inability to rise to the occasion. You may have a lack of dream recall in regards to soul contracts, and or dreams of a separate self living in a separate location from different time periods. So these are the general symptoms. I invite you guys to scan your life, reflect, sit and reflect, write down the patterns that are playing out, and see if you can pinpoint which one it feels is affecting you at this time. I am available to help. So if you need support, if you need assistance, you can book with me on my website, and I will list that down below. You'll have to go after remote sessions in my service menu and just book an appointment if you need support in that way. So thank you. I hope this has been helpful. I hope that this sheds some light into the problems that may have felt unsolvable, that have been haunting you. And I hope that everybody is able to get over these obstacles within their lives so they can fully embody the authentic joy that you are meant to have in this life. So